It's what?
I said Malcolm alleged that some of Elijah's women were underage secretaries, and can you expound on that?
Yeah, well, I guess they were because they were there. I seen them. I seen them myself. It's all true. It's all true.
Good evening, messenger. You convinced us that you were the last messenger. How many other bastard children do you have?
All right. You asked me, was I Republican or Democrat? What did you ask me?
I asked Barbershop Conversation Bree, was he a Republican or Democrat?
I'm a Republican, man. I'm a Republican. I'm a.
Listen, let me answer that question.
Uh,
Here's a black guy, African American, come from the black mecca of Harlem,
mhm,
and you damn Republican.
right.
What the hell is going on?
Um, I- that's an easy answer. Uh,
No, no, it's not an easy answer.
oh, very easy. I'm.
And, you know, you got a family, got a lovely wife and two lovely children.
Uh
How do you explain that to
huh.
your family, to
Mhm,
your mom, to Mom Dukes, your brother, your nephew, who
yep.
mean you always talk about? How
Yep.
do you explain
Yep.
that? And
And
they're Democrats.
and when you're black in America from these inner cities, you are an indoctrinated Democrat. And when you look at our cities, you and you look at it from generations and decades on, it looks exactly the same. The only thing that has changed is the name of the representative, the name of the senator, and in many cases, it's gotten worse. And in addition to it getting worse, sales tax go up, crime go up, property tax go up, more potholes in the street, more people getting mugged on public transportation. So I've come to the realization that um, Democrats in these blue cities are part of the problem.
Okay.
Yes.
Then
So
third,
yes,
when you was young, before you moved to California, a Republican was in the White House, right?
Reagan,
Okay.
80 to 88.
Before Reagan, Jimmy Carter.
Right.
Before Jimmy Carter, it was 6.5, 7 years of another Republican, Richard Nixon.
Richard, he went to the same college as me.
So how it's better under the Republicans than under Democrats? In your lifetime, you 40, I ain't saying how old you is, that's nobody's business.
47.
But in your lifetime, you had what, 21 years or more than 20 years of a Republican president. You had Reagan for 8.
Hmm.
You had Nixon for what, 6.5.
Right.
That's 14 years. Okay. And then you had it was Johnson, Nixon, Carter, Reagan.
Hmm.
Now you got this fool in there now.
Right.
Now, one thing I can say, Fred, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat. I'm just a guy that understands the political arena. What people don't know about me, Fred, is I made a lot of backroom deals. I know all the ward leaders in Philadelphia. I knew all the moving shakers in City Hall. But my thing is, Fred, that none of them ain't no damn good, Republican or Democrat. It's whoever can deliver.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know if you know, there was a competition in Newark, and Trump's people locked up the mayor of Newark a couple days ago. You hear about that?
Say it again.
There was a confrontation in Newark, and Trump's
Oh
people.
yeah. No, well, it's not Trump's people. The mayor of Newark went down to the ISIS and and basically overstepped his boundary, right? And tried to protest on ISIS and tried to interrupt their federal business. So
But that's
it's
his city.
but you can't interrupt federal work. Yeah, it's
That's
your
his
city,
city.
but you can't
But what he
interrupt.
can do, but what he going to do, he's going to close the place down. Trump can't make him have a ICE vicinity in Newark. That's New Jersey. Trump don't control New Jersey.
Well,
The government controls New Jersey.
he,
Trump just the president. He don't control every state. That's the governor controls that state.
mhm,
And Murphy decide in the next coming weeks they're gonna close that place down. Then Trump gonna have to take his people somewhere else. You can't make a state have a facility for immigrants,
mhm.
for ICE. You can't make a state do that. So even the federal judge in Newark said Trump people was in violation. This is this man's city. And he went to check the people on the people of his city. He's in charge of the people in his city. He went to make sure they was treated fair and treated all right. What's wrong with that, Frank?
Um, First, I'll say this: federal funding, no city, no state can survive without federal funding. And when you want to challenge the federal government, which is you have every right to, right? There are repercussions with federal funding. So if you tell President Trump, and this is just me with common sense because he did it with I mean he was going back and forth with Maine and other cities as it pertains to same sex sports and all that. But as, as I digress down to Newark, if you say we don't want an ISIS s- station in Newark, then guess what? He's going to say, well, you're not getting federal funding for schools. You're not going to get federal funding for your bridges, your roads. Like you can't play with federal funding. So
But
it's
but
no. I'm no. Let
Trump
me
don't control federal federal money. The Congress and the Senate. Trump don't control it himself.
no. You can vote on it all you want, and
But
and
you
and and
keep
that's
saying Trump don't control the budget.
the
He just the
budget
president.
itself, yes, but the release of the federal funds, absolutely. The state senator is going to go up to the state capitol and vote and filibust and speak and get the votes, and you still got to get the federal funds released,
But,
and
but what I'm saying, the federal funds are controlled by the Senate, United States Senate, and Congress.
I agree. I
Trump
agree.
don't have nothing to do with that. So people giving this motherfucking faggot a bunch of credit.
Um, I think Trump is at the end of his term, he's gonna be um he's gonna be better than Barack Obama.
Well, listen, if Trump died today or tomorrow, the world is not going to mourn for him
Absolutely
like
not.
they did Jimmy Carter.
No. I I couldn't agree with you more. But these business trades that he's making in terms of the tariffs, for example, he's putting a tariff on people who on Hollywood films that go and record in Toronto. I think that's important. And it's
But
sad
what's
how it's
important? Thing? Because what's important? Because somebody make a film in Toronto.
the reason why, because it takes jobs away from America. And two, we don't get the tax benefits from it. So
But Fred, how can you tell a company where to make their movie at?
no, you're not telling them where to make the movie at. You're incentivizing them to make their movies in America.
But even if they see Fred, you're looking at it as job growth. I'm looking at it if if I do if a guy go to Canada and do a movie, if he do it here, he don't have to hire a motherfucker from here. It's his movie. What gives the federal government right to tell a movie producer, a production company who to hire?
No, he's not telling them. He's see
Well, you just said it's taking jobs to Canada. You
no,
just said it.
no, he's not. He's incentivizing. He's incentivizing Americans to invest in America. It's the same way when you go to another country and you gotta clear customs. It's the same thing. You can't clear customs with um with a gazillion dollars in your, but they're gonna say, where'd you get it from? You can't buy something in China and come to America and not pay taxes on it, and vice versa. It's the same thing when you clear customs. It's no difference than paying sales tax. It's no difference when you was an extortion artist, former extortion artist, self-proclaimed. When you charge a guy 10% on the $10,000 he earned, it's the same thing.
But Fred, it's not the same
It
thing.
is the same thing in terms of the logistics of it,
What do
like the numbers.
okay, okay, you just said that Trump want to keep jobs in America.
Yes,
You just said that.
yes.
But because a movie production or construction company got a company in America, they don't have to hire motherfuckers from America. So how is that helping the job growth in America?
Easy, because he's incentivized. So, for example, if you there are tax laws that will incentivize uh um um so I'll use the car industry for example. There's a tariff on China, right? So what China was going to do was build a plant in Mexico. Reason why they built it in Mexico? To bypass the tariffs in America. So what Donald Trump said, no, 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 no. That's not gonna fly. That's not gonna
But
fly.
Donald,
It's
but
like
Donald Trump,
it's
you
like
keep saying Donald Trump, he don't control fucking Mexico.
he doesn't control Mexico. However, there are trades between North America and Mexico. I mean, not North America. Yeah, yeah, the United States of America and Mexico. So Mexico is incentivized to play fair with Mexico. It's like, for example, when you catch the number
I,
two or the
uh, yeah, go ahead.
like like if you owe somebody on 125th Street, you take the
Mhm.
express train and you get off at 116th Street, right? So you're bypassing the man that you owe, right? It's like when you're on the run from the feds, right? Same thing. You're attempting to bypass traffic that will hem you up. So what America is doing is forming an alliance, which will at the end of it protect America. So I think we from a business standpoint, I think we got to be America first. And I think the reason why we have to be America first is because if not, then guess what? There won't be any Social Security. If not, there won't be. As of now, there's Obama health care. So if we're not
But
putting back
Trump,
into the system, because basically what
but
it is,
Trump,
or like Pell Grants, or or like student loans, like we pay. All it is supposed to be a cyclical cycle where I pay mine back so the next generation can borrow the same money. It's supposed to be a system that takes care of itself. And I think we've gone too far in terms of not getting return on our money. And I think that
okay,
Donald
now,
Trump,
Fred,
go ahead.
sit right there. I want you to talk about them student loans.
Right.
Now, who this fucking student loans helping? They charging interest on these kids.
Right.
Families that don't have it, if they don't get a good job, then their credit is bad.
Well, the private sector is a little bit different. Like when you get private loans, you can charge what you want on the private sector. But let's say like these oh man, like
I'm talking about the federal student
yeah,
loans.
yeah, yeah. The student loans is supposed to be if I owe $10,000, right? I have to pay back the $10,000. So my sons and my grandkids can go to college and use the same program. So the in theory, it's supposed to take care of itself because the money stays in the pot. And then these federal student loans, man, listen, the interest rates is 1% to is very, very low. It's similar to like taxes. Is the interest rates on your taxes is very, very low, you know, and uh it's lower than a car loan. It's lower than a house mortgage loan. So you are incentivized to actually pay it back. But if you're paying just the interest, if you're paying just the interest back, then that's on you. But you're incentivized to actually pay it back. So now it's your choice to go to college. You know, it's your choice of your parents to not make enough money. You understand what I'm saying? Like you got to look at the whole picture now. So
Okay, okay, now stay where you at. I want
hmm
to ask you this here. I want you to keep talking.
hmm
Now, pray. All the people that come from down home, like my people and your uncles and grandparents, and they come from down home,
right,
moved to Harlem,
right,
they couldn't afford to send their kid to college. They worked in the fields and factories. So that's why a lot of Southerners went to predominantly black colleges because they were cheaper and the teachers taught, but that's just taught for a reason.
hmm
So what's your perception on the student loan in them days?
well, it's an easy solution. You go to a community college, and when I was growing up, it was $13 a unit. So basically you're paying $40 per class. I don't know what it is today, and so with that being,
Now you know, in my time and your uncle them time, there was no community college.
well, I don't know when the inception of community college was, but
But
um,
you know there was no community college
no,
in the
I
South.
would disagree. I would have to go through
There
that.
there was no community college in the South. You had them small area black colleges, but there was no like now. Fred, I don't know if you ever heard of Bohees. Now, I know you heard of South Carolina State.
hmm
You ain't never heard of college like Bohees, and then you might have heard of Savannah State because a lot of ball players went to Savannah
Well,
State.
Shannon Sharp went there.
Yeah.
hmm
So so if they ain't a big name athlete of a small black college, you wouldn't know about it. I wouldn't know about it unless a ball player come from there. All the colleges in South Carolina, the small colleges now, community now pretty. Have you ever heard of Benedict Allen?
In South Carolina, yeah, it's a Division II school,
Okay, but they're black colleges.
right?
Now, Fred, in my time, your uncle them time, and your great grandparents' time, those were the colleges that we could afford to go to
Right.
because we most of us worked in the fields or worked in the factories.
hmm
Those colleges in those days, your family, my family could afford to send a child to those colleges.
Right.
That child went and got a good job, and she helped the brother and sister that wanted to go next.
hmm
But we don't have that today, Fred, in our community. We don't have one brother sister preparing for the next one to go off to school. We don't have that.
Well, because you're indoctrinated Democrats. It goes back to my first statement. Victim mentality, depending on the government. I don't think you should depend on the government. I think you should leverage the government. I think we're as a society. I think we're too dependent upon outside entities. I think man and woman gets married, uh, create a financial base, have child, and hopefully the information gets passed down,
Okay.
and there's enough finances to sustain. You know,
Now,
I think that's the ticket because
I'm gonna ask you this here.
yes,
What is your son 10?
yes,
Is this college? Is this college fund already in the works?
yeah, for sure.
So now, Fred, everybody, you take a mother
Hmm.
that work. No, no, we're gonna get down. And I want to say this to all the mothers that listen to your show. Take a mother that work at Walmart, Kmart, Target, any major brand store, a supermarket, a BJ's, a Costco's.
Right.
They don't make enough money for it. Say, unfortunately, some desert brother left them for whatever reason it may be. And the little child support that each state is giving these women, it's not enough for these sisters for it. My cousin, Joe Blow's cousin, Joe Frazier's cousin, Kenny Norton cousins, little cousin, don't have the necessary funds to put away for a child to go to college. What should these women do? We talk about women now. What would you advise these women to do?
Back it all the way up. If you're working at Walmart, right?
Right?
Applying for a job means you understand that America is built on capitalism. Capitalism, you have to have a functional understanding of what capitalism is, right? Because you applied for the job. Now, if you're working at Walmart, Kmart, whatever mart you want, right? That means, and you choose not to get married.
No,
And
that's not what I'm saying, Fred. That's
wait.
not
I'm
what I'm
getting there.
saying. Stick to the question. Don't beat around it with
I'm
that old
not.
political shit.
I'm
That,
not
that old
beating. I'm
Republican
not
shit.
beating around the
Go
bush.
straight to the hood with it. Don't go that old Republican shit. Say what you want to say, all that going around shit. My
No,
question was, if you had a young lady that got fucked around by my nephew or your nephew, what would you advise them to do? They're not educated. They may have a GED. They're not college material. They are working, being good citizens, taking care of their children the best way they can. That's when, don't give me that circle shit.
no, I'm
Give it
not
to me
giving.
real from 120 people and then Amsterdam.
Yeah, I don't mind if you disagree, but can I make my statement?
Yeah, but make a statement, but don't give me that bullshit. Give it to me for 116 the limits.
I'm not giving you no bullshit. But if you let me, I don't.
Go ahead.
Okay, all right. I don't care
Give
if
it
you
to me. Hold
disagree.
it before you start. Give it to me from Lennox Avenue, not that circle Republican Trump bullshit. Give it
No,
to me
I'm.
from 126 in Amsterdam.
Yeah, if she's working at Walmart, there's a level of accountability before you have the child to to put yourself in a good financial standing so you can provide for the child. Now, if you have a baby with my nephew, or somebody of the street that hasn't made a commitment to you, then you're the fool. Now, here's the beauty in America. See, here's what black people.
Don't give me that
Wait,
Donald
wait,
Trump shit.
wait, no, wait. You let me finish, and you could disagree. You could yell at me, curse at me, whatever you want to do.
Go
Here's
ahead.
here's what black people in America don't understand and will never ever understand. There are 11 states in America where there's no state tax. You are not confined to Harlem. That's the beauty. When you go to Europe, you got to have a passport to go to different states, which they call countries. In America, you don't. And guess what? Within those states, every county has different tax laws. Like you can go from LA County here to Orange County. People buy cars in Orange County because they are cheaper as opposed to buying cars in LA County. I buy all my cars in Orange County because the sales tax is different. So, with that being said, black people think they're confined to 116th and Lenox. No, 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 no. You can move your ass up to Albany, and guess what? Have the same lifestyle with less problems, cleaner transportation, uh, local government that aids you. So people think that it's oh, I got to stay in South Central LA where it's overpopulated and crime is high and public transportation is bad, homelessness and is taking over the streets. You can move. And the most beautiful thing about America, it's for sale. So you can literally work your ass off for a year, move to the middle of any state, buy a house for 30 to 50 or $100,000 in most states in America. And guess what? You'll be just fine. But go ahead.
You you missed the point, Bree.
I'm not
You
missing the
took
point.
you took me way around fucking Albany and Rochester.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't the question.
Mm-hmm.
So you dancing around the question,
Mm-mm.
just like them goddamn Republicans, Trump, Newt Gingrich, and all them fools. Let me tell you something. I've been in this political game before you was born. I've been making deals with political judges and lawyers and congressmen for 50 years. But what I will say, Fred, here's the question. What I want now, I'm gonna say this. Young sisters, young guys, barbershop Fred means well, but he don't understand because he's less than 50 years old. He don't understand. But what I will encourage y'all to do is budget your funds, whether you work in Macy's, wherever you work at, or whether you work in as a dental hydrant or whether you work in a dentist's office. But what you have to do is know about the economic cloud. What Fred and his Republican Party don't understand, we got nothing on the backs, the struggle that Martin, Malcolm, Noble Ali, Elijah, Roy Wilkins, Foreman, all them guys did. We got nothing on the backs of the Republican Party. The Republican is trying to get rid of the civil rights bill, trying to get rid of the voting rights bill. So what Fred means well, but he don't understand. Wasn't no Republican marching. Wasn't no Republican getting beat with Billy Club. Wasn't no Republican getting dogs sick on the family. So what did the Republican Party do? This Trump bullshit, and I know him very well in the fight game. Great fighter promoter, great casino host, but he's nothing for the White House. He did nothing for my people in the White House. Now Fred going to say different. When Fred respond, he's going to say I'm wrong. That we got this trade, this incentive with Toronto, Mexico, and all that bullshit. That don't mean nothing if it ain't sending kids to college, Latino, Native American, African Americans, Puerto Ricans. If it ain't helping these families send their kids off to school, prepare them for life and the next generation. I'm gonna let Fred answer this because I don't know what the hell Fred talking about. Go ahead, Fred.
Okay, well, the ironic thing about it is you've basically stamped what I said, but you said it in a more compassionate way. Save your
Oh
money.
God.
Let me
Oh God.
finish. I didn't
Oh
interrupt you.
God.
I didn't interrupt
I
you.
ain't said that. I'm just saying, oh God.
Okay. Save your money, do what's right, be accountable. See, you said it way more compassionately. So they
Oh
can say
God.
yes, Uncle Leon. Yes, OG, yes, Papa. I understand. The reality is oppor- Donald Trump has created what we call opportunity zones. Now, I'm going to use a famous name because if I use Mr. Johnson, Mr. Jones, then people won't understand. There's a rapper by the name of Nipsey Hussle. He had a business partner by the name of, I think his name was David Gross. David Gross. Nipsey Hussle died with a net worth of $11.3 million. Reason why he has a net worth of $11.3 million is because of opportunity zones created by Donald Trump. They invested nationwide, him and David Gross, and they took advantage of the federal funding so they can create jobs and uh, buy land and develop. And to take that to a larger scale, Dan Gilbert did the same thing in the blackest city in America when you was in your prime, Detroit, Detroit, USA. Dan Gilbert, he put all 5 professional teams in one location. It is the only city in America that has all 5 professional teams in one location. The Detroit Tigers, the Pistons, the Tigers. Oh, well, you know the Detroit Flame, Red Wings. They all downtown LA. I mean downtown Detroit. And guess what? They have public transportation. It's called the People Mover for free. So the point I'm making is 20 years ago, Detroit was bankrupt. I there was opportunities to get land for free. You had to develop and pay the property tax on it. They were so they were such in a strap and a stronghold that they were just giving away land because they needed incentives, right? Property tax. Pay the property tax and you get the land for free as long as you make a promise to develop it in a certain amount of time. Well, the same incentives is go to junior college. Hey, you go to junior college, you ain't got to pay back your loans until 5 years after you graduate. That's an incentive to go to college. The same similar incentives to go build Detroit back up. So the same incentive that Donald Trump says, you know what, film producer, make your movie in America, and guess what? I won't charge you any tax. But if you make your movie in Japan, China, Toronto, you will have to pay a tax on it, which is the same thing you did with when you made all these backroom deals, uh, when you ran the streets in Philadelphia, Temple number 12. It's the same thing. But if I say Republican, it makes no sense. It's not about Republican. It's about common sense. It's about maximizing the dollar. And guess what? This government gives us great opportunity to guess what? Build in America. Everything is for sale. I'm being honest, 47 years old, and I've never ever seen a white man come to the middle of Harlem, middle of South Central, and kill a black man. I've never seen it in my life. I've never seen it. Never. I've never seen a group of white people in my life take over a bl- take over a black block. I've never seen it in my life. Never ever seen it.
There you
And
go with that bullshit.
I've never seen it.
All right, go ahead, Brady. I'm listening. I'm gonna
So
take this up in a minute.
so the reality is the level of accountability must be at 100%. The same way you crack someone upside their head if they owe you money, that's accountability. We got to be accountable. You you borrow money, you pay it back with the interest. You walk down the street, you put your trash in a trash can. You send your child to school, you volunteer 10 hours a week, 10 hours a month, 2 hours a week. You send your child to school, you do the homework. You sit down with your child and do the homework. It's really really like common sense. If we apply common sense to our daily life, everything will be so much easier.
Okay, okay. All that is good, Fred. All that Republican shit you said is good. But let me ask you a question.
Hmm.
All right, Fred. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What if what if one of my nieces, one of my little cousins, one of your little cousins got caught out there married, the guy messed over, she left and stuck with 2 children. What would you advise her or any other young lady in the street to do? Now, and here we say, we talking about women that's good women. They just married, just things went south. It happens. You got to understand, things today don't last as long as it lasted in the old days. Now, in the old days, through it all, the ups and downs, the family stayed together. My mother and father was together before things went south for 47 years. It is what it is. But at least in 47 years, the structure was there. Shit today don't last 10 minutes. That's 47 years. What I'm saying to you, Fred, you understand what I'm saying to you? What I'm saying, when you look at the Congress today, look at Johnson Congress, look at Nixon Congress, and look at Carter's Congress, look at Gerald Ford's Congress, look at Reagan's Congress, look at the 2 Bushes Congress, look at Barack Obama's Congress, look at Joe Biden Congress, and look at this boxing promoter, hotel casino host. Which you say is the best Congress?
I just think
No, Fred, don't beat around the bush. Don't give me that old
I
bullshit.
don't think none of them are the best. I don't think none of them are the best. I genuinely believe the
Which one you
Constitution.
think was more effective?
Oh, more effective. Hmm.
Look at what Johnson Congress got done. Look at Carter and Nixon. Look at what all them Congress got done.
Honestly, uh, 2016 to 2020
You
was.
can't say that. Fred Jerome, you got to say Johnson's Congress.
I'll get to Johnson. I'll get to Johnson. Me on a personal level, 2016 to 2020 was phenomenal for me. So 2012 to 2020, I would say, has were the financially the best 2 terms of my life. So that was 4 years with Obama and 4 years with Trump. Now, if we throw it all the way back to Lyndon Baines Johnson, he said, "I'm gonna have these niggas voting Democrat for the next 200 years." Now,
Did he actually say that?
um, there's reputable
Did he?
sources that say
No, Fred.
he's
No, no, no. We don't do that. We from uptown. We say what we know, and we say what a man said.
okay.
Did
Okay,
you
let's
actually
omit
words
that.
come out of his
Oh,
mouth, man?
okay. Let's omit that. Let's say he didn't say it. Now, I want everyone that's listening. I want everyone to go Google Lyndon Baines Johnson, Martin Luther King, and listen to the phone conversations of these 2 men talking on YouTube. Now, when you take that into account, and there are conversations where Martin Luther King said, "If there's anything you need, let me know." They know they're being recorded because the conversations are in Oval House. You can tell that they're making small talk because they know they're being recorded. Lyndon Baines Johnson and Martin Luther King leverage. I'm going to say this respectfully. Martin Luther King ain't the man that people made him out to be. Wasn't not even close to the man. He was a he was controlled opposition. How he got paid was through organizations that was run by who? White people. So for example, the NAACP, um, instead of they using Claudette, oh, what's her name? What's her last name? She was 15 years old. She was dark skinned, pregnant, not married. She in March of whatever year did that March of that year, she sat on the bus.
Yeah, you talking about Coretta George, 1955.
Okay.
She refused before Rosa Parks.
Yes.
because
Now,
she had a
thank you.
baby and she wasn't the fit. I know the
Now,
whole story.
okay,
I knew
okay,
some of her uncles was in the feds with me.
okay. Now, fast forward to Rosa Parks is better looking. Rosa Parks is married. Her husband works for the NAACP. So let's stage a sit-in.
Oh God, pretty you with your bullshit.
No, it's the truth. It's the
But do
truth.
you know that
They
as a fact?
monetized it. They monetized it because you know what they did? They want the same thing they did to Jackie Robinson is the same thing they did to Rosa Parks. They integrated black people into the consumption of city and creating tax revenue. The same way if Jackie Robinson, listen, if Jackie Robinson hadn't um, hadn't integrated with the MLB, there wouldn't have been a mass exodus of black people from south to north. Keep in mind, the Negro League sold out Comiskey Park, sold out the Green Monster in Boston, Yankee Stadium. Everybody go do their homework. It's a 30-second Google. We was putting up more numbers on the Eastern Peninsula than Major League Baseball. Satchel Paige was as famous as Babe Ruth on the Eastern Peninsula. Now, when now people don't see it as this. People don't see the buses. The same thing when you go to a baseball game today, were the same businesses around these black ballparks. The hot dog man, the peanut man, the shoe shine man, the buses. It was all black owned. It was all free enterprise. Now the reality is, guess what? These ballparks now are minor league ballparks for Major League Baseball. And guess what? Let's take it a step further. Tuskegee was a plantation. Tuskegee, Booker T. Washington University, Tuskegee was a slave plantation turned college. So you know what white people said? We're abolitionists. But guess what? Spelman is owned by the Rockefellers. They took the Rockefeller off and left Spelman for conditioning. And all this is a 5-minute Google search. Everything that I say, just Google search it and cross reference it
You
with
tell me John D. Rockefeller, Nelson Rockefeller grandfather, owned the Spelman in Atlanta.
that's his
That's
wife.
what you tell me.
That's his wife. Spelman is his wife. Go all
But
the way back.
but Fred, you telling me
Yes.
that John, the old man Rockefeller, the grandfather, left New York and went to Atlanta and bought the land of the Spelman. That's what you're telling me now.
Just go to Google. Go to Google.
Well,
Cross
fuck Google.
reference.
Fred, man put stuff in Googles. Man put stuff in computers. That don't mean that's true.
Okay, well
Come
go
on,
to the
stop that
Spelman
Google shit,
Library.
man.
We'll take you.
Stop
Well,
that Google shit, man. Google giving out information that man put in the computer. Come on, man.
so
That
you don't
don't
trust
mean
Google?
that. I don't trust Google. I trust what I hear and see.
Okay. Well, go. Well,
So Fred, you
drive
gotta
up.
forget I'm from the corners.
Well, I encourage everybody to go to the library. Go to
So
the
that don't mean because it's in the library. That mean that it's
go to
true. It's in
Spelman
the book.
Library. Go to Spelman.
Fred, answer the question.
Yes, I said yes. I said
Do you
yes.
know for a fact? How you know for a fact that this man left New York and went and bought Spelman, the land of Spelman? How do you know this? You going by what you read, not what you know. You going by what you read. You're not going by what you know. You know you can't tell me that bullshit. I'm from the corners. Tell me about
Um,
what you know,
I'm
not
telling you
about what
what
you read.
I'm telling you what I know.
You know you don't know, Fred, because you weren't even born. How would you know?
Well, if it's on Spelman's campus, if they saying it at Spelman campus, right? People don't even take the time to read, man. Howard is named after a white abolitionist. He was a military man. There's only 5 schools, 5 HBCUs named after black people. God, dog, it's only 5. It's only 5. So when you hang up with me, do your Googles, do your research, cross reference. Matter of fact, do 15 cross references, and there lies your answer. But if your answer is I'm from the corner, I'm this, I'm that, then hey, go right ahead. Don't believe me. Don't believe me. Keep thinking the Civil Rights Act is the biggest blessing in the world, or the Housing Act of 1968. Keep thinking it. Feel free. You imagine grandma being on Section 8 through perpetuity. How much lost potential is in that family's last name? But y'all can listen to Mr. Muhammad, you know, listen to Mr. Muhammad and say it's the Republicans' fault. No, it's your fault. It's your mother and father's fault. Your mother and father should have got married, bought a house, and anchored the family. Stick with each other through thick and thin. You know, somebody got to have morals. Somebody got to have character. Somebody got to have integrity. Somebody got to have accountability. Why not Papa and Grandma? You done? Did you fall asleep, Mr. Muhammad?
No, I hear what you're saying.
Oh, okay.
I want you to tell the people about Selma. Tell people about the 16th Street Baptist Church. Fucking bunch of Republicans in the South. Tell the people about the Selma Bridge. So you talking all this
Oh,
other
Bloody
Donald
Sunday?
Trump,
Bloody
you
Sunday?
talking all this other Donald Trump shit. No, I don't want to talk about Bloody Sunday. I want to talk about them redneck Republicans and the 16th Street Baptist Church where them 4 little girls died.
I, I,
Now,
I, I,
I don't care about the bridge.
I,
You
I,
talk all this bullshit. Let's talk about 4 little children in your daughter's age bracket
no, they're
lost their life
demons.
on some redneck Republican. Talk to me, Fred. Talk to me. Don't talk that old bullshit. Talk to
Well,
me like I'm at 112 St. Nick.
well, the KKK was created by Democrats, and I will say this:
No,
do
no.
your homework. Do your homework. Frederick Douglass was a Republican, man. Frederick Douglass
Man,
was your
too.
hero. Frederick Douglass was your hero. Remember, don't forget that. But as I digress, Frederick Douglass was
My
your
fucking hero,
grandfather's
per
hero.
se.
Frederick
No, not
Douglass
my hero.
was your father's
Fuck Reggie
hero.
Douglas. Yeah.
Frederick Douglass was your father's hero. But anyways, as I digress, I think the people who plan that are demons, are devils. They should be. Hopefully, they're burning in hell. Hopefully, like it's no other way around it. You you, but it's not even no buts. I don't condemn character based off of um your political preferences. I base it around your deeds, right? Ain't that what they say in the Quran? Your deeds.
Right, you're right.
Yeah. So I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. I care about your deeds, how you
Uh-huh.
impact the world, what your family structure looks like, how
Uh-huh.
successful are your kids. I don't
Uh-huh.
like those people are demons. They should be burning in hell.
Uh-huh.
Now, from a
Uh-huh.
political standpoint, I'm not like Malcolm X said in the Battle of the Bullet. The easiest thing you can do is sit down. Shit. Who the hell gonna sit down and get hit by billy clubs to sit in a restaurant where they ain't got where the food is horrible? So I mean, there are too many black people accounts. There are too see people don't read, man. See the difference. I was a history major in college, so although this information is rather old, I've forgotten a lot of it, but I still have the premise of there are so many black accounts. Hundreds, thousands. People don't read. People don't. Thousands of accounts of black people with last names of Williams and Jones and so on and so forth that said, "Why the hell did I sit in and the food was disgusting? Why do I want to sit and eat at this restaurant?"
Well, Fred, I don't know. I was never in the civil rights movement. I didn't support that shit that Martin and them did.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't ever support that shit. But Fred, I always been a guy as a kid. See, where I grew up at, Fred, everybody got along. Because, see, everybody in my town, we never had no problem. Because they know all my uncles were Chicago and New York gangsters. White folks never bothered us. We never had a problem. I went anywhere I wanted to go into town. Because, you know, you didn't bother my family, we didn't bother y'all. Because all them white folks and racist motherfuckers, they knew my uncle and them were real gangsters in New York and Chicago. They would come down and tell them all. My Uncle Bubba, real Chicago name. But what I'm saying, friends, is that these four little girls lost their life. You said something about ago that the Ku Klux Klan was Democrats. How do you know that?
Oh gosh.
How
If,
do you
if
know?
research, black people were Republicans.
Fred, I
I'm
don't give a
telling
fuck
you.
about
Oh my
I don't
God.
give a fuck about W. Boys, Spectre Douglas, or none of them
Booker
worthless
T.
motherfuckers.
Washington. Mhm.
Okay. You
Malcolm
said
X denounced the Democratic Party.
shit, Malcolm denounced every damn thing that wasn't connected to life. That ain't
Right.
nothing new.
Right.
So, Fred, let me ask you a question.
Right. What?
Frederick Douglass,
Yes.
do you think he served a purpose for anything that he said or did?
Man, yeah, he was a hell of an entrepreneur, man, and um, he was a well structured man. Like yes, absolutely. He knew how to.
What you know about what you read?
It had to be what I read and primary
No,
documents.
no, Fred. It could have been some. It could have been some old timers uptown that was with him
No, I did
in
my.
your neighborhood.
I read his autobiography. Um, Only thing I haven't done was visit his home yet in D.C. I haven't done that yet, and I will.
Fred, was he Richard from D.C. or he just grew up in D.C.?
Well, he was a slave, and the white woman taught him how to read. He was a slave.
So
Um,
you, but Fred, you saying he was a slave in D.C.?
no, he was a slave. He was a slave, and then he wrote the started with the newspaper. I forget the name of it, man. I'm sorry, but
What is the Negro Express, Fred?
yeah, there it is, something like that. I don't. I'm
Something
drawing
like
the
that.
blank on it. I ain't talked about it in so long, but
You think you got a blank on it? I really got a blank on it. I thought it was Negro Press or Negro
hmm
Discouragers.
something
One
like
of them.
that, something like that, and he got subscribers, and that's how he started, and he believed in he was an entrepreneur. See, the ironic thing about it is black people are entrepreneurs. For example, the Black Wall Street are black entrepreneurs. Oh, they bombed the Black Wall. They did.
In
And
Oklahoma City.
they
Oklahoma.
did. But guess what? That wasn't the only Black Wall Street. It was a Black Wall Street in Philadelphia. Harlem is a Black Wall Street. Norfolk is a Portsmouth Boulevard was a Black Wall Street. Frederick Douglass Boulevard in Virginia and Portsmouth was a Black Wall Street. So the
Well,
reality is no one wants their economic pipeline disrupted.
well, you got a point, Fred. But what I will say, all them guys served a purpose to a lot of people.
Yeah. Same thing. Yeah, for sure.
But I think Elijah was more effective than the ones before him. What's your take on that?
Yeah, he had black enterprises. He in terms of structure, he didn't believe in longevity. He believes if I see he- here's my opinion, but first I'm gonna just state the facts. He built enterprises, right? From the fish farms to the farm he bought down south to the bakeries. the schools. Um, even though he only had 500 to 1,000 members prior to 1952, um, um, because he couldn't move because he didn't have the education, and two, he was a felon, so he didn't have the wherewithal, the education to build out. 1952, there was this this man named Malcolm Little that actually developed um, the Nation of Islam. So when you say he built out, no, 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 no. It was it 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 was enterprise because when you look at the final call was created in Malcolm X's basement. So when you look at it from that perspective, he 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 understood it but didn't have the information. He was in business for 20 years, 1933, 1935. He was in business for close to 20 years and only had 500 to 1,000 members, you know? And I do give him credit because his name is on it, but he didn't have the information. Now, let's be clear, John Ali did a really good job because he was college educated. From a logistical standpoint, John Ali wrote the books that gave Elijah Eat to Live. Is that what it's called?
It had 3 books.
Yeah, John
Uh,
Ali wrote them.
so John Ali told you he wrote these books. That's what he told you.
Yeah, he said he wrote the books. Yeah, he wrote the books, and I can believe that someone wrote them because he had a 20-year head start. He didn't write them, so so
Well,
uh,
you can't say John Ali wrote them because all the Elijah children were well educated.
so that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. Like he didn't write them.
I don't know if he wrote them or not.
He didn't. He didn't. He didn't
You
make
can't say John Ali because Ether and all of them had college degrees. Ether, Wallace, all of them, Nathaniel, he was in the streets. All of them, Akbar, all of them had college degrees. So you can't put it all on John Ali.
No, I'm not putting it all on John Ali, but
So
I
you
am
saying
saying
John Ali? So you saying
somebody.
John Ali? So you saying John Ali bought the farm? So you saying John Ali got all the victories? And,
Absolutely.
and 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 he had the victories. The victory was in the nation long before John Ali and I came.
Um,
The first victory was in Detroit. And John Ali wasn't around in 1933, 34.
mhm. Yeah,
So
I'm
you
not. I'm
can't.
not implying that. What I am implying is he didn't have the education to build out because if he had the education, it would have been built out in 20 years. What he did was he maximized the profits, and here's what my common sense tells me: he built it out for selfish gain. He didn't build it out for longevity. Reason being, he's in probate court. He's in court. His whole estate is in court for years. So, from that standpoint, he didn't even build it out from a business perspective. Everything was attached to his last name. So the reality is, he wasn't as thorough as people made him out to be. I will say that the structure of it, like the economics, it is an example, but it wasn't successful. It made his 9 biological kids, or how many biological kids he had, he made that family successful. But mosque number 27 here in Los Angeles is closed down. On 90th in Vermont, it's closed down. 89th in Vermont, one of them streets, it's not here. So I understand what you're saying, but in order for that to grow, the sheer numbers of it.
Oh, now what you just said is not true. The mosque 27 is closed under Farrakhan, but Wallace changed the name and moved to a different place. The masjid in in LA is still open because I talked to a brother that go there every Friday for Juma.
It's on
The
Florence. It's on
masjid,
Florence and like 10th Ave, 11th Avenue.
okay, that's the masjid.
Yes.
Wallace did that. Wallace took a new stand. You saying the mosque, the old 27
Yes.
that Farrakhan tried to reopen, he wasn't
No, it
successful.
was open for
And,
some time because I've been in there. Now, it was 5606 Broadway. That's where Ronald Stokes was murdered, right in front of it. 5606 Broadway. And
that's
then and then it moved to
that was Temple.
89th in Vermont.
That was the original temple uh,
Yes.
that Elijah established.
Yes.
But,
Mosque
but,
27. Yes.
but when Wallace came in, Wallace moved it.
Hmm.
When Wallace took over, when he stopped the FOIs, when he closed the doors,
Gotcha. I understand what you're saying.
you see what I'm saying?
Yes. Uh-huh.
So now I don't know if Farrakhan got a smaller mosque out there
Mm-mm.
in LA. You would
Probably.
know,
No, it's I don't know where it's at.
but I
But
heard it's a smaller temple out there,
well,
27.
it's
But the
it
main temple with Ronald Stokes and all his crew, where Brother Ronald got killed at,
right
and
in
all
front,
those other brothers
right in the
out there,
front. Yep.
where all those brothers was at, Wallace got rid of that mosque.
Hmm.
Wallace got rid of it.
I just drove by it today. I
So,
drive by it every day just to when I'm working in LA. Just to
so, so pray.
yes,
Now, Ronald Stokes been gone over 50 years.
1962, April 1962.
Now, I don't know if his wife's still living or not. I know she was living in the 80s. She got to be about 99, right? Right, Pray? Is she still living? Brother
Yeah, I would
Ronald.
say I would say so.
And, but you know, Ronald Stokes is a Harlem guy.
Mhm. That was one
Did
of
you,
Malcolm's best friends.
uh, did you know that he was a New York guy?
I didn't.
Yes, Fred, she told it on the tape. She born and raised, her family from the South, but she born and raised in Harlem.
Mm,
His wife said that on the tape in the 80s.
hmm,
She said she was born in New York. They left New York and went to LA.
hmm.
So now I don't know the situation of Ronald Stokes because I didn't know a lot of them brothers at that time out there in LA.
Hmm.
Now I knew all the street guys out there, but I didn't know too many of the brothers out there.
Hmm.
That was in 27 till later on. But that situation with Ronald Stokes, that was like being in Alabama. But what do you know about that Ronald? What have you studied about that Ronald Stokes situation, Brad?
Um, they it's it was in front of the mosque, and the police said it was a shootout. They had guns, um, and the other version is the police basically um, did an injustice. So um, that's a simple answer.
Okay. Now, was that situation it when see what do you think about the Rodney King situation?
That was egregious, man. You don't hit a man that many times. Mhm. You don't hit a man that many times, man. I thought that was just, oh man, that was disgusting.
And
You
that
don't
jury,
you don't need to hit a man that many times.
is that the worst jury in the world, Fred?
Mhm. Not guilty. Hmm.
That's the worst jury in history. That's worse than being in Alabama, Mississippi
Yeah, I
in,
just
in that time.
yeah, because that's 1990 something. Yeah. Mhm.
Now, if that jury was the worst jury, that jury was worse than the jury in the Emmett Till case.
Right. He whistled at a white woman.
Now, Fred, that woman's still alive.
She just died.
She just died, Fred.
She just died.
Now, I remember when Ed Bradley, you know, I knew Ed Bradley
Hmm.
because I used to always see him over at the Amsterdam News because I had a lot of brothers that was close to Don just come off the office and they used to always tell me, say, Ed Bradley, he's a very serious man. Sylvester Leach, who was close to Malcolm, and he died in early 2000. He was close to Don and Sharpton. And I remember Fred, he telling me he was a young writer. When he wrote about that Emmett Till case, he spoke with his mother, and she said, Fred, that was a horrific case. You know, them guys got sentenced later on, sold their story and said they did it. And those rednecks down there still didn't convict them. They sold the story for 4,000. When Ed Bradley said that on 60 Minutes, I thought he misjudged it. But them some cold crackers down there. But what I will say, that we came a long way, that we got a long way to go. But the economics is better today. Do you believe the economics is better today for everybody if they push themselves and apply themselves than it was in those days?
Oh, you sound just like me.
No, I'm just saying.
Oh,
I'm just saying what I believe.
oh,
Now,
interesting. You sound just like me. You just more compassionate.
what I will say, see, I'm hard on these women today, Fred. You'll go pay $300 for hair,
Okay, wait, wait,
and buy.
wait. Let me start a new one. Hold on.